Hi everybody, this is Greg McCanoff. No, I really did get that one. Greg Lukianoff. Today of the Eternally Radical Idea Substack. We have a new piece up on the Substack talking about old news from Friday about that whole thing about the murder bots and the mass surveillance that Anthropic didn't want to do. So the Pentagon threatened the Defense Production Act, but then kind of went with this other thing about making you radioactive so you could, never really, like what I think Dean Ball called corporate murder, because they didn't want to give the government permission to use their tools for autonomous weapons and for mass surveillance, which sounds like pretty decent red lines, but that, wasn't good enough. And, I tried to be very clear here. Of course, the government can decide to contract with whoever they want, but the invocation of the DPA in particular, as I mentioned last week, sounds an awful lot like nationalization. Now, what I talk about in this piece, though, is I go a lot further, and I make a jump that sometimes I think people don't totally get why I'm doing it. But we have a handy graphic in the new Substack of a printing press transforming into a killer robot. Because here's the thing, AI is different. AI is, it's going to be what's going to be driving our cars and doing all sorts of stuff and murdering us too, but it's also our repository for human knowledge. And here's the thing, power wants control of truth. Power has always wanted control of truth. Power has longed for that as long as there has been such a thing. And it's gonna find a way to find a backdoor into controlling the outputs of AI if we let it. I believe this profoundly. And so the thing that I'm proposing in this article is to try to think about the separation of power and truth, the separation of power and reality definition as important as the separation of church and state, probably more important for the way we live our lives. And what I'm most impressed with myself about this is I didn't manage once to bring up Foucault, because it would end up being like that Khan moment in Star Trek II being Foucault, because I just always start complaining about him. I've got very, very nasty feelings about that fellow. Anyway, check out ERI. Don't ignore the sirens, and check out the latest post. Come for the discussion of Anthropic. Stay for the digression into power, and of course stay to see the very handsome Nico Perino wow them at Cambridge. So check it out, subscribe.